I want to do only that. That's what
Good evening, everyone. Let's try that again. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Bristol Town Council meeting of November 20th. If you could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. Welcome. Nice full house here tonight. We have an opportunity every once in a while to celebrate a Bristolian, and that's what we're going to do this evening. We're going to start off the meeting. Normally, we would start with meeting minutes and agenda, but we're going to start with a smile. This is a proclamation signed by my colleagues, the administrator, the clerk, and myself. And it is a proclamation for, please tell me I'm going to say this right, Gaetano Armalato. Did I do that well? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So what the proclamation is, and if there's someone here that wants to add to the story, please feel free to come up to the podium. It's my understanding there was a proclamation done many years ago for the Armalato family, and it was done by Mr. Izello, the then town clerk. How am I doing?
My grandfather.
Your grandfather. Your grandfather. Okay. All right. What position did he hold?
He was the town clerk.
That's what I said.
You said Izello.
Oh, I did say that. I'm so sorry. So it was your grandfather. My apologies. So the deputy clerk shared that with me. And the proclamation in front of us is to recognize volunteerism to its nth extent. And what I'm talking about is that I'm going to read just a little bit of this. I don't want to do the whole thing, but it's sincere tribute to fireman second class Seaman Gaetano Armalato and the remembrance of his 5 brothers. And I want to skip around and say, because it was him being one of 6, along with his father, had enlisted in the Army or in the Navy and in the military, giving back to the community. The whole family gave back to the community. So having this proclamation and recognizing Thursday, November 21st, 2024 as Gaetano Armalato Day. Are you Gaetano? And if you're here to recognize Gaetano, can you raise your hand for everybody that came here? See, look at that. Yes. Is there anyone that wants to add to the story? Because I would love to know if there's anything else that you'd like to share for the record. Please. It's okay. Come on up. No one? We got you. You go right up to the podium if you would.
Well, I can just tell you that in 1965 is when the family was honored, and the whole family were members of the Italian American War veterans. My father was the commandant of that group at that time. He was the first to pass, and since then they have all passed. And my uncle, who's 96 years old, is the only survivor at this time. He's a very proud Navy veteran. He served at the end of World War II, and he was fortunate enough to go down to Washington, D.C. On the honor flight, I believe it's called. And the whole family, I know for a fact, was so much in love with this country, having served in World War II, and for them to be honored and for my uncle to be a part of that and to be the last survivor at this time is a great honor, not only for the family, but really for the town of Bristol to have a whole family serve. And at that time, many families served, not individuals, families. And we were fortunate enough to have everyone come home. And that's the greatest thing. And I just want to thank everybody for doing this for us.
Two things. One, you really should have done it. You did an outstanding job. My goodness. That really was wonderful. Second thing for myself, it is truly an honor to be able to recognize what you gave back to this community and to these United States. We say thank you. So anybody else? I'm going to walk this down to you if I may. No. Would you come up and take a photo with us?
Yes. Should, we can step in front. You want to step in the front?
Are you going
Your
down?
last name's always up in front of you.
It could be.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you get from there?
No, I'll go down first.
You gotta-
You
want us to stay here?
Oh,
Come down, come on. Let's take a picture all together.
I-
My Alice, Cheryl. Nice to meet
Thank you very much.
you. No, I understand, yeah, they need.
This is absolutely.
I won't use it.
We take a picture. Okay, let's spin around.
No, you can.
Okay, just- You get to hold it down me. Everybody in?
Why your grandfather?
Everyone gets the day off tomorrow.
All right.
Let's get
All
it.
right, I'll get out of the way. So great photos. Oh, that's a nice picture.
One more round of applause for him.
Very nice.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Thank you. Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
I'll see you
guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
friend of the
Yeah.
board. Yeah, I still got that picture on my phone of you and I.
I still have your.
Happy
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Of course.
Oh, wow.
We'll be back, maybe for the Christmas dinner, okay?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thanks, thank you. Thank you.
I'll probably have that. Okay. People often ask us why you serve, why we give back to the community, why you run for office. And I got to tell you, and I speak for all of us, because we get to do things like this. That's why we do it. So, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to refer to you as Madam Clerk for the evening, if I may. All right, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the first item of business is the consent agenda.
Make a motion.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, next item on the agenda is the submission of minutes for the town council meeting, October 30th, 2024, and also the executive session minutes from October 30th, 2024.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Madam Clerk, just one
Chairman.
moment. Mike, we had a meeting before the meeting, or we started the meeting early and we did interviews and we wanted to appoint those people. We wanted to wait till the regular meeting to do that. So it was Televase. Do I need to add that as an item? It was already on the agenda and it was a bit earlier. Okay, so then the next order of business is we had interviews at 6:15 tonight, and we interviewed for a couple of open positions. One of them happened to be the Historic District Commission. The other is the Bristol Housing Authority. Does this council have a motion in regards to appointing?
I make a motion that we appoint Robert William Page to the Historical District Commission.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we appoint Mike P. Mello to the Bristol Housing Authority.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Congratulations to both of you, and thank you for your volunteerism. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is the public hearings. B1, intoxicating beverage license renewals, 2024 to 2025. We also made an error. It's E2 and not E1.
E2. Thank you. So this is a public hearing, as the clerk just said. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone, normally I ask for speak for or against in a public hearing, but we have this open specifically, Mr. Solicitor, for a notice of public hearing for AZJ, John Street LLC, DBA Harbor House.
Correct. And the reason we have a public hearing specifically on this one, and we'll get to all the others when we get to the E's, is because there's a question as to whether or not this license is going to be renewed because it has been granted in the past but never issued. So we're wondering if, I think you should ask if anyone's here representing the Harbor House.
So you just heard that from the solicitor. Is there anyone here from Harbor House? Excellent. Could you please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Jeff Quinlan, 1220 Ives Road, Warwick, Rhode Island. Co-owner of AZJ John Street and AZJ Thames Street. Regarding the former Guillory site at 198 Thames, our group acquired that parcel and two adjacent parcels in November of 21. We did develop internally the Harbor House concept, which is a higher end seafood and chop house. We have these beautiful boards and designs and illustrations and floor plans. And we were unable to commit to that project due to the ever rising cost of construction and the uncertainty of the economy since the end of 21. That's the reason why the license has not been active since we acquired that parcel. Unfortunately, we don't have any certain direction for that site at present. We are still considering proposals from possible tenants, occupants, as well as developing something that's more budget conscious internally. So we are aware that the license is likely to be not renewed, and we will be pursuing licensing at a time when we have a direction for that parcel.
I think that's a good idea because, you know, in Bristol, we take it case by case. I mean, in some communities, having a liquor license is almost like a property right. Like, oh, I'm selling it with a license. It doesn't really matter because when you're ready to do the construction, you can come back to us.
Great.
And we can, you know, you're not at any, like, there's no negative about not renewing it now.
Understood.
Since you don't have a project like ready to go.
Okay.
Anybody else in the council?
I might just add a little bit to what Mary said, you know, she's right on target, you know, we obviously always very accommodating and certainly take into account, you know, anybody that steps up to apply for the license, you know. So certainly we appreciate you stepping up and let us know that you're vacating that one for the time being, though.
Very good.
So Mary captured it well. That's exactly right, is that we're not going to look negatively upon this if you come back in front of us and say, I'd like to do that. How we look at this, though, is that we have multiple licenses out there. Someone else is going to ask for one, and we weigh this in. And we say, how many do we have out there? Where are they? You know, what's the effect on, for example, the police department or DPW, a fire department? So I'm glad that you said all of that. So it is my intention that we won't renew it, but absolutely happy to talk to you again if you are interested in looking at garnering a new one in the future.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, I just wanted to point out, you talked about various different proposals for that building. It would be fantastic, get the lights on in there, and I understand you're dealing with that. But I'm sure the town administrator has some good resources that you could talk to people that are in the state government side of small businesses and things that maybe help you get over those roadblocks that you may have. So hopefully we can be able to get that place open.
Great.
So hopefully, so
Appreciate that.
suggestion, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Like,
You
Thank
might
you.
ask if anyone else wants to be heard.
Feel like a day one. Thanks, Mike. So
I'm sorry.
I'm just having fun with you. Is there anyone else that would want to speak in public hearing in regards to this particular topic? Can I have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Just having fun with you, Mike.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next public hearing is B2, 2023 Community Development Block Grant regarding providing funding for repairs to the bathrooms at Bristol Housing Authority, 1014 Hope Street, $200,000, and to provide funding for Bristol Home Repair Program, which offers home repair loans for qualifying local applicants, $4,000.
So I talked with the solicitor.
400.
400,000.
Yes. I
Hi,
talked with
Zello.
the administrator earlier today, who in turn called Diane Williamson and wanted to make sure that we could get to the public what we're proposing. And this is not an approval. This is an asking for us to take the next steps on these particulars for the CDBG. And I believe, yes, outstanding. Diane.
So our program manager for the CDBG program is here tonight, Bob Plain, and Candy Panza, the director for the Benjamin Church. You want to get it right, Bristol Housing Authority is also here tonight, so they can answer any questions and present their proposals.
Since you're up first, could you share what we're proposing to go for on the grant? And the 400,000 that was talked about was specifically for home repair loans. What does that mean if we're successful with this? How does the public take advantage of this?
Awesome. Yes, I'd love to. Good evening, council president and councilors and people of Bristol. Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. So as Diane said, my name's Bob Plain. I work for Church Community Housing, and we help Diane in the planning department manage the CDBG program for the town of Bristol. What is before you tonight, what Bristol is applying for, and it may feel familiar to you all because we actually voted on these same activities last year. And because it took the state so long to put its grant cycle together, they just asked us to do it again, in a more current way, right? So what we're applying for, and Candy can probably speak much better to what the housing authority is doing than I can, but it's $200,000 to make some much needed repairs to the bathrooms there. I think maybe we'll see, but I think between 10 and 20 bathrooms, is that?
Well, it's an average of $8,000 per unit.
Would you mind so everybody can hear?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
So it's an average of about, shortness here. An average of about $8,000 per unit to put in the showers, because we rip out the whole interior to make sure behind the walls, everything is good, because believe it or not, Benjamin Church Manor is 55 years old. Doesn't look it because we've made some nice renovations, but behind those walls, we're trying to keep seniors in place. That's the whole idea of this grant, so that they can stay where they are. Believe it or not, it's very difficult for some of them with bathtubs to get in and out of a bathtub without help, and they have to go on to a nursing home or an assisted living because of it. We want them in place at Benjamin Church Manor. We want to keep our Bristol residents there. And we've done some of the bathrooms. The handicap units do have the roll-in bathrooms. That's okay. But because of the cost, we're putting our next grant towards doing more bathrooms, but from HUD. But this grant would be a little bit of a push, which would be great for us, about $197,000. The Housing Authority will put in 20% more money, about $49,000 towards this, plus what the grant would give us. We really, really need this, and it's just so expensive. HUD and the federal government has really cut the money that they're giving to us because, you know, they're sending it other places, unfortunately. But this grant would just be fantastic for us. We have 193 units of senior housing, and we're very proud of it. I mean, there's not many affordable housing units around. We do 190 with the Housing Choice Voucher Program. So we have almost 400 units that we handle that's affordable housing, but unfortunately, you people can't count that towards your percentage, which is something that I don't really understand. But if we could get this grant, and I hope everybody is behind it, it would just be a real help in keeping our seniors that are there for a longer period of time. And you know, we're proud of what we do. We're proud of our public housing in Bristol. I mean, there aren't many public housing places that people can say, yes, I have public housing in my community, and it looks pretty darn good. We do our best with what we have, but this grant would really put us over the edge. I thank you very much.
Thanks, Candy.
Yes.
Yes,
Just
thank
a
you.
Quick
Thank-
question. I'm sorry, maybe I missed it. How many units would be covered with this?
Well, we're
get
going to
this
do
grant?
first floors because a lot of our people that are on the second floor can't do the stairs anymore. So they ask for permission and we grant moving them downstairs. They come ahead of anybody else that needs a first floor unit if they're already living there. So we're going to start with the first floors and go from there and see how many that we can do basically with the money that we have. So you're talking, like I said, around $8,000 per unit. So we're not going to be able to do them all. And we have done some, but we really need to kind of get this going with this grant and also with the capital funds that HUD will be sending us this year, which will be about $450,000. But we have to hire an architect. We have to go out to bid. We have to do all of this too. We'll handle it in that protocol like anybody else would do. We'll go through all the hoops. But we're hoping that we can get this extra money to get some more showers in place for our people. It would be fantastic.
Be great.
It really
Yeah.
would.
It's a much needed project. I mean, it definitely needs to happen. You don't need to move anybody, do you, while the projects are happening? Or
Actually, it
can you do
takes
that
normally,
concurrently?
depending upon what they find behind those walls, once they rip them out. If we
Okay.
have any mold or construction issues, it may be a couple of days. And for the most part, most of them will go to family, and if they can't, we'll put them up at a hotel.
Oh, okay,
That's
great.
not a problem. We'll accommodate whatever we need to do to put them in a place that, you know, they can be out for a day or two and then go back right in and have their brand new showers. So the problem is that we're not going to be able to do them all. So I'm going to let the board choose which ones they want to do. You know, let's give it to them and see what they do. But eventually we'd like to do them all. And then eventually do the second floors. But right now the first floors are more important because we have more handicapped people on the first floors than we do on the second floors. So,
Well, the 200K, 8 per bathroom, that gets 25 bathrooms, they could be improved.
yeah, but the money that we get, you have to remember too, we
Right.
have to hire an architect to come in, do all the plans, and they take about $25,000 to $30,000 of that money to do that, because you have to get an architect in there to do that, to plan it all out and decide what we need to do. But it's a help. Any little bit helps, and the more we can do, the better. So
Super.
we have handheld showers in the tub areas, but it's again, getting in and out of that bathtub is, as people get older, is very, very difficult. So the walk-in shower would be ideal for them. So we hope that you're all behind this, and, you know, we're looking forward to it.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question for Bob. If Bob,
Thank you, Ken.
thank you. Bob, can you tell us a little bit, this home repair program seems like it could be critical for people that might have a house where maybe a roof is in disrepair. Maybe that's something that would, cause them to not be able to live in the house anymore. And one of the things that I think we want to try to do is to keep some people in their homes, right? And instead of having them maybe look for housing elsewhere. Can you tell me, I have a few questions for you. The first one is if there's anybody that's interested in the home repair program and whether one of their projects qualifies under that, who do they reach out to for that?
So the first point of contact is usually with town hall somewhere, either the planning office or the social services department. And then what typically happens is they say, give Bob a call over at CCHC. So the home repair program, just for a real like quick and dirty education about it, is one permitted use of CDBG funds is it can be used to make needed safety repairs and code violations on people's private homes who qualify for CDBG. And what that means is you earn 80% of area median income. And area median income in Bristol right now, I think if memory serves, is $78,000. So if you make about $70,000 or less and you're a single person, that number goes up. If you have a spouse or children or et cetera, right? Then you can apply to the town, right? And we manage this program for the town. Church Community Housing has been doing home repair programs in Newport County since Gerald Ford first signed CDBG into law, actually, since like 1976, right? So we've got a ton of experience doing it. And a few years ago, I think Diane reached out to us and we said, we'd love to manage that program for you. So exactly as you said, Counselor, if someone has a leaky roof or a creaky step, or if they need their siding repaired in some cases, or if their home isn't safe for them, or if it isn't safe for the community, and they earn less than 80% of area median income, then we do what we call a forgivable loan, right? So it's actually a loan that if you don't sell your house, right? So if you retain ownership of the home, you never have to pay it back, right? And if you do, so depending on how much money you borrow from CDBG, there's like a graduated scale of, so if you borrow a little bit, after 5 years, you don't have to pay anything back. And if you borrow more, after 10 years, you don't have to pay anything back. And if you borrow even more, it's 15 years. But long story short, the way it works is it's actually, we call it a forgivable loan. And assuming that you don't like use these CDBG funds to fix up your house and then sell it, right? Then you get the money free and clear. But if you do sell it, which some people will just kind of fall into the situation where, you know, I made this repair and now my life's changed and I'm going to go live with my son in Texas or whatever the case may be, then you just at the sale repay the town and you know, so the town's actually made, so it works so, you know, no one can like profit from using the CDBG program. And in the case that their life changes and they have to move on or something happens, then the town gets that. We get that money and we can use it again for another CDBG project.
And then last year, this program was so successful, we used up all the money and everything like that. We don't have to do any outreach or anything, is it?
So that would be
Okay.
a
Good question
decision
for
that you
Diane.
guys would
Yeah,
make if
okay.
you want to do outreach or not.
Okay.
I'd say that we may or may not be awarded the full 400,000. And even if we were awarded the whole 400,000, you'd be surprised how quickly 400,000 can go on just a couple projects. So
Okay.
once
Like
you
one
start
house.
doing outreach,
Yeah.
then what happens is everyone thinks that they qualify, right? And so I'm charged with, you know, making sure people income qualify, right? So they may qualify, right? And they may get a loan, but either way, I'm sending you guys a bill, you know? So sometimes that work won't, you know, so if they qualify and receive CDBG money, then CDBG will pay for the time that I put in making sure. But if they don't, I'm still going to send Diane an invoice.
Right. Okay.
You know, so that's why I say that's a decision that is up to you guys, how much you want to publicize the program.
Diane, you seem like you want to share something. Yes.
That question has come up before about outreach, and I think, you know, managing expectations, as Bob says, you put an ad in the paper and everybody thinks they're eligible and they're not all eligible. The other thing is, we've been creating a list. We have had folks reach out to us who are qualified, who are waiting for this money to be hopefully granted to the town so that we can do their projects. So we already have a few people that are in line for this based on their applications that were already submitted. So I think we'll see how we do and can start a list for next year.
One,
Gonna never end.
council,
One sec, Mary?
I was just gonna say that, I mean, if you do outreach, I mean, to be clear on what the amount is, I mean, to me, quick math, it would be 62,400 in income, so that a lot of people would not, you know, would be over that in this community. So I mean, you know, I think being clear what that is, but I agree with you. I mean, to be able to have like even a low interest loan, but a forgivable loan, wow, that's amazing.
and council, I hope everyone knows that I'm somewhat speaking in jest when I say, you know, I'm gonna send you all an invoice. Either way, like if someone just calls with a question, we don't bill the town.
But if you go through the steps to verify, that's what your point was.
Right.
Okay.
Bob, what's the length of time the person has to live there? Okay, they cannot sell the house for a period of time. What's the amount of
So
years?
If memory serves, if it's under $10,000, they
Uh-huh.
have to stay for 5 years.
Okay,
If it's between 10 and 15, it's 10 years. And
Gotcha.
more than that, it's 15 years. But I can send Diane that exact information and,
that's fine.
okay, yeah.
It's recorded.
Yeah, it's a really neat way that these forgivable loans work, that people actually get money to do the repairs they can't afford to do. And then if they end up in a situation where they want to turn those repairs into wealth for themselves, then the town recoups that wealth that the town and the state and the feds invested in those repairs.
And we
So-
can then in turn use it again for someone else,
Correct. Yeah,
which is outstanding.
yeah.
Awesome.
Good to know.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions from the council?
No, that was.
Bob,
that's
anything
great.
else that you wanted to add? Anything else you wanted to add?
No, thanks.
No.
Just the only thing I should add is
Bob, you said no. No, I'm just having fun with you. Go ahead.
I feel like the town solicitor.
I like to have a little bit of fun. Keeps it light.
Typically, what we do is, there's two ways town councils must participate in CDBG applications. Town councils have to have a public hearing, and you also have to vote on a resolution that you approve of the activities being applied for, right? So tonight we're having the public hearing, and for whatever reason, we don't also have that resolution on the agenda. So I'm going to ask of you to put on your next council agenda, which I understand is the 4th, just to John Hancock that, or vote on if you want to apply for these awards, to vote on that resolution that the council endorses those two applications.
Our next meeting is actually a little bit after that. Our actual next meeting is a reorganizational meeting.
Yeah.
And not a business meeting, if you
Yeah.
will. So
It's-
it'll be the one, but your point's taken and we're
It's
happy
up
to add
to
it
you.
on.
The
So-
grant period closes the 31st of December.
So we, just as long as it happens prior to that.
Yeah.
Which it will, no problem. Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah,
you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from the council?
No.
No?
That was good.
Diane, did you want to add anything more to this?
No, I'm fine, thank you.
So help us with the motion here. If there is no resolution for,
I think we're just gonna close the public hearing.
So move.
And the resolution will appear on the next regular meeting.
so we had a motion to close public hearing. Is there a second? Second. Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to close the public hearing. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
The next order of business is C1, ordinance number 2024-18, Chapter 16, Motor Vehicles and Traffic, Article 9, Residential Parking, Section 16 345 designated residential parking streets to include additional no overnight parking. This is the second reading.
I make a motion that we approve it.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Any discussion? I will, just really quickly. This was brought in front of us by residents on and near Mount Hope, asking for residential sticker parking requirements to be extended. And that's exactly what happened here. So it makes it so if you live downtown, you need to have a sticker. If you don't have a sticker, you are in danger of being ticketed and towed. So, and that makes the parking for our residents of Bristol that much more available, or that's at least the goal. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, next is C2, Ordinance 2024-19, Chapter 11, Fees and Charges, and Chapter 16, Parking Violation Schedule for the Town Code, Modifications to Parking Fines, Violations, and Penalties. This is the first reading.
Motion to approve first reading?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, that this is first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our next order of business is ordinance number 2024-20, Chapter 5, Amusements, Article 3, Section 5-97, Restrictions. It's language adjusting outdoor establishment entertainment end times on Fridays and Saturdays till 11 o'clock. This is the first reading.
Motion to approve first reading?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, that this constitutes first reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our next order of business is new petitions. D1, Jennifer Medina from the Caravallo Group, LLC, doing business as Pisco and Tequila, 382 Thames Street, Unit 1, regarding dancing and entertainment license.
Is Jennifer here? Or represent, if you would? Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
William Medina,
And the address?
6 Apple Tree Lane in Barrington, Rhode Island.
Thank you.
She couldn't be here due to a loss in her family.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry for a loss.
She sang me over.
You lucky guy. So could you tell this council, obviously we know that you're in front of us for a dancing and entertainment license, right? Can you tell us what you're proposing for, or what she's proposing? for the
Well, she
establishment?
just wanna have some solo entertainment, just a musician to play a guitar or something like that. Or maybe a duo, no bands or anything like that. It just,
So on the
it's a
small
requirement.
end, and call it acoustic?
yes, that's it.
Is that
Because
fair?
it's a small little place and
So if the council is amenable and we could make this approval pending with your agreement that it will stay just small, one or two
yeah. that's it.
acoustic-esque, if you will.
Even if you want to, we couldn't. This is a small place and we're trying to do
You'd
it
be
once or
surprised,
twice.
sir.
We're
But
trying to be respectful like always, you know that.
Thank you for that, too. Council?
Chairman, based on the recommendations, make a motion to approve for the 6-month review?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, that includes a 6-month review, and that it will stay small, acoustic-esque, one or two performers, if you will. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, and please send our condolences.
Thank you, members.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, our next order of business is Brian Sadler, Gray's Ice Cream LLC, 251 Thames Street. This is in regards to a vitrilling license, and it's under new ownership.
Is Brian here? Could you state your name and address for the record?
Brian Sadler, 363 Papa Squash Road, Bristol.
Lucky you. I love Gray's Ice
Yeah, I
Cream.
know.
Can you, so this
Did
is your
any-
30-second commercial. Tell us what's going on.
Bought Gray's Ice Cream about a month and a half ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Put the Tiverton place in Bristol, and we're going to continue as that has been done for the last 101 years.
That will be required in this approval. just so we're clear.
Okay,
Okay, all
we got
right.
it. We're the new owners, but looking to kind of keep Gray's tradition going as it was.
Outstanding.
That's awesome.
Bob, how about your, how long is going to be your season this year? Is it going to be your, just like during the summer or?
Yeah, we usually open, well, they've opened the past somewhere around April and it goes into October. Where it closes in October really depends on weather.
So
I'm sorry you didn't bring any samples with you.
Unfortunately,
You know,
they melted, but.
I know they would have. Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next order of business is Donna M. Falcoa from Benjamin Church Tenants Association, 1014 Hope Street, regarding request for a bingo license on Fridays bi-monthly through August 31st, 2025, and will be located in the Benjamin Church Community Room.
Motion to approve?
Second with a question.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Discussion?
Yes, it goes through August 31st. However, do we know when it starts?
I think it's going to start as soon as it's approved because
It's
they do
approved.
have their approval from the police. So
Okay.
they're just waiting on the town council.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our next order of business is renewals licensing, AZJ Thames Street LLC, doing business as Harbor House regarding intoxicating beverage license renewals 2024 to 2025. And this is in regards.
Mr. Solicitor, could you walk us through what the appropriate way to?
So in this case, as you discussed in the public hearing, you indicated that you wouldn't be renewing this, but that the applicant could back to you at any time in the future once they have plans. My recommendation would be that you would deny the renewal on E1.
So moved?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated by the solicitor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our next order of business is the intoxicating beverage license renewals of 2024, 2025.
Based on the recommendations, make a motion to approve?
Second. And
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve, but discussion?
We wanted to. yeah.
I know.
a thing on limiting some of the?
So actually, in fact, that's exactly what I think we need to do. Chief, could you weigh in, please?
Yes, I'd ask Lieutenant Paul Maderas also to go to the podium and fill in any questions that council or anyone has had. So Lieutenant Maderas serves as our alcohol and tobacco compliance officer when we get state grants to go out to our establishments to make sure they're adhering to Rhode Island general laws, more specifically Title III under the alcohol chapters. He will generally send in decoys to certain locations to see if they will sell to underage persons. That's generally not what we're here for this evening. Come across our desk certainly has been contacts as the college season got underway this year. Officers went out and did alcohol compliance checks and went into several of the establishments, both at retail, liquor stores, and also some of our restaurant bars, and did observe underage persons drinking and buying alcoholic beverages. To the credit of Lieutenant Paul Maderas, he took an initiative through my office to call in those particular license holders to go over the Rhode Island general laws, which they must adhere to, that having like an operator's license in the state, a retail license to sell, or a restaurant or bar license, certainly it is a privilege that is issued by this great council. And we wanted to educate them and to bring them up on the programs that the Bristol Police Department have. I can say that all of our establishments came in, they met with Lieutenant Maderas. There was an education period that we had. And we thought it was prudent. I will just give you a little bit of stats for some of the locations that we had. Bristol Liquors sold to underage persons on the following dates: 9/21/24, 9/26/24. Another one on 9/26/24. Third one on 9/26/24. A fourth one 9/26/24, and a fifth person on 9/26/24. Aiden's Pub also had 4 violations. Thames had 1. Nest Bar and Grill, we logged in 3. And the Common Pub had several on 8/29/24. I can tell you what was reassuring to me as the police chief was that these establishments, for late type purposes, carded these individuals. The folks that were able to kind of slip through the cracks and get the alcohol were using fake IDs. Several of our locations, also a request that we have purchased technology that kind of do a check and a balance of the identification. So my license number is such, and it's correlated with my name. And some of these fake IDs, the numbers don't match. So when they go and they do that particular query, it'll come up and it's easily recognizable, as a fake ID. So much so that I think it was when we met with the owner of Bristol Liquors, that he had seized over 33 fake IDs, so he is trying to do their due diligence. I give our vendors credit. There certainly is not a shortage of people entering our establishments looking for an alcoholic beverage, whether it's to buy it or attend one of the bars. I believe most of the license holders, if not all of them, are here this evening. I thought it was important to go through the violations that we saw and for them to remain steadfast on their due diligence to make certain that alcohol that goes out the door is in the proper hands. So those are the issues and the things that we've done in the last 12 months to kind of be proactive before we come to the council. I credit Lieutenant Medeiros, who's done an outstanding job in working in partnership. And I believe the only vendor that doesn't have this technology is Aiden Pub, and they work with a third-party private security company, and they've asked that person to get that type of ID technology. So that's where we're at this evening for the renewals that are in front of you.
Thank you, Chief. That was quite comprehensive. Lieutenant, thank you. Is there anything that you wanted to add?
I think the chief covered it all.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Counsel?
I just had a question in regards to the technology or the scanner that would scan these fake IDs. What's the cost
They
to
range
these?
anywhere from 4,000 to 12,000. A couple of establishments have one that was 11,500, one of them was 12,000. And what they
12,000.
do is they scan the ID.
Yeah.
Every time that individual goes back into the establishment, it tells you how many times they've been there, the face pops up so they can correlate with if that is the person. The issue we have now is the IDs is so good that when we ran the IDs at the police station, they're actually coming back to false information.
Oh, wow.
So they are doing what they're supposed to be doing, trying to.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just think, I mean, it's really interesting because, when I went through the numbers and read this last night, I mean, to hear that everybody's doing what they should be doing, but they're caught up with the fake IDs, that is such a difficult situation to be in if you're trying really hard to do it, and it must be like great fakes, and as you said, this technology. Is there any assistance for businesses to be able to get that technology if they don't already have it? Or, I mean, out there in like nationally or Rhode Island wise?
I don't believe so. I think it's all on the individual business because they are private businesses. So it's up to each owner.
Yeah. Wow. That was just fascinating when you said that to me. I mean, to us.
Yes, so I'm sorry, you all said?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit upsetting, but also understandable that they are making an effort to, and obviously being duped into it with fake IDs. And to your point, Bristol Liquors, they had X number of cards that they had collected, even though they had 4 violations, if I'm reading that correctly. At first thought when I read through it without having all the additional information this evening was that all of them should have gone in a 6-month, and come back for a review. However, with the additional information we have this evening, I think an effort has been made on their part to really do their job in due diligence. So, thank you.
Anything else from the council? I do. I concur because I walked in thinking that this is unacceptable. To hear the explanation, it's understandable. Just also a point of clarity, the agenda included, it said Mount Hope, and I know that we've discussed this inside already, but it said Mount Hope Liquor had an infraction, which in fact they did not. That was listed incorrectly. I just wanted that for the record. So, but thank you both for your efforts here. And it's strange to say this too, but that I hear the challenges. We hear the challenges on this. And it's imperative that we continue because this council takes this seriously, and apparently so do the businesses. And for that, we say thank you. So any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Sunday sales license renewals for 2024, 2025. These are the package stores.
Make a motion based on the recommendations that we approve it.
Sir.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the vitrilling license renewals for 2024 and 2025. We have an updated recommendation from the chief of police that
Chief, could you
received
share that
meeting.
with the council and the public? So I did not have an opportunity to look at it. I got it this evening.
What's the item agenda that you're talking about? Is it Midland Farms?
E4A, I'm not sure what was changed. I just received a copy of the recommendation, an updated copy of the recommendation.
So it's
That's
actually,
confidential information that I don't want to disclose over the public document.
understand.
Mhm.
Thank you. So the recommendation, so what's in front of us is council, we just need a motion to approve.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve, and I think there's a 3-month review on Midland Farm.
Second.
Yep.
So we had a motion from Tim, seconded by Tony to approve with the following the recommendation of a 3-month review on that establishment. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, next item is additional hours license renewals for 2024, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Discussion? For the public, the reason why we go through quickly on these things is that my colleagues and I spend a lot of time reviewing all of this before the meeting. So we've gone through it to make sure that we're following all the practices and also looking at the recommendations to make our final decision. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is amusement device license renewals, 2024, 2025.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our last renewal is E7 holiday sales license renewals, 2024, 2025.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our next item is Robert D. Morris, 93 Kickamuick Avenue, regarding consideration for modification to the Marina Mandatory Insurance Ordinance to exclude commercial vessels over 30 years old.
I don't believe Robert's here, correct?
He is.
Oh, he is. I'm sorry. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, before we proceed with that, can I just go back very quickly on all of the approvals that we did and all the businesses that are here for taking the time to be here for one, and two, for being, good business in town. We certainly appreciate your efforts.
Well said, Tony. Thank you for sharing that.
Rob, okay. Does he want to come up?
So, Mr. Morris, you petitioned the council asking
Yes, I,
for us to, I'm going to oversimplify this. This is specifically in regards to commercial insurance. The council passed an ordinance about 6 months ago, approximately, that required insurance for both pleasure boats and commercial boats. Since that time, you and others, commercial fishermen, have expressed concerns, state that you can't get the insurance that the town is requiring you to get.
yes.
I'm saving you a lot of, because there was,
Mhm.
I know there was a lot of dialogue about this. It frustrates me, not your request. It frustrates me that we went through all of those steps, requiring it and not knowing that you could not ultimately get it. And I'm going to clarify that frustration. I had a long conversation with the harbor master and also the administrator, and the harbor master did do his due diligence and called, we'll say, local and semi-local establishments trying to find out if this was available, and was told yes. And in fact, by your research, that's not in fact the case. So then it's not just the 30-year vessels, it's an additional
other
vessel,
things.
right? So
Many things.
I don't mean to steal your thunder. This was a very appropriate request to the council, and from all of this research that was done, I happened to be at the last Harbor Commission meeting, and a lot of that conversation came up, and it said, we can't get the insurance. What are we supposed to do? And I recall I said, the council's reasonable. Come to us with a proposal, and we're happy to listen to it. In this instance, you do not have an option, and it does not seem right or appropriate for this council or the town ultimately to require insurance that you cannot get. Now, clarifying on that, there are some boats that can get that insurance, but the majority cannot. From talking with the administrator and the research that he did, the skiffs, the Quahog skiffs in particular, are, I don't want to say uninsurable, but they cannot be properly insured for commercial use, Quahogging, if you will. So that, and I think I speak for my colleagues on this, no one ever, and Mary, I'm going to give you kudos on this one. I know you push back on commercial insurance in general. I was for it. I still am, but not if it's unattainable. So what you're asking us to do seems right and reasonable. Before all of this happened, we had a conversation. I had a conversation with the solicitor and asked, what can we do in the meantime? This was also a concern of the administrator and the harbor master, meaning for us to change the ordinance, you probably heard this evening, it requires 2 meetings, and this is not one of them. The first reading to tell people that we're going to take action on something. The second reading to actually take action on something, which is weeks and weeks and weeks away, keeping you and your fellow commercial fishermen from being able to use the docks. No one here, again, is okay with that, including the administrator. We have a resolution that the solicitor created, which would allow this council to direct the harbor master and his designees not to enforce the requirement for commercial insurance while we work on adjusting the ordinance to remove that requirement for commercial insurance. How's that?
Yeah, I think if you look at floodplain insurance today, how back in 1968 FENA came in because nobody could get the insurance from the high water mark up to 14 feet. Insurance companies would not touch the house. So where do you go? That's when floodplain insurance came in. It's a little more expensive, but they got it through the government. It's sort of ought to be, or it looks like the only possibility of the commercial industry of fishing that's supplying food, and good healthy food at that. It's the only way that I can see it, that you're gonna have to establish, something within the state, federal government, maybe like even the way you did your town on the docks. I understand that you have a sort of a different type of insurance where you work together on, whatever. The bottom line is, we're faced with a big problem. And when you look down at that water and you see it's getting clearer and clearer, we're going out of business. We are putting harmful, deadly chemicals into the nitrogen base that feeds the planktons, poisons the whole food chain, and nothing's being done about it. It's like, oh, look at the water, it's not cloudy anymore. Well, that was plankton, and it needs to come back. It's over 2 million gallons a year. That's something. I don't want to get off the subject.
Yeah, because
Okay, I
because we
know.
have open meetings and we need to stay
I
on
wanted
top
to
of it.
table this.
So-
I wanted to table this, and I wasn't going to say anything. But since I'm up, I figured, well, maybe people will hear, and maybe people will do something about it. And that's about.
You're not the first one, Mr. Morris. It's okay.
But floodplain insurance is probably the only way out of this loop, because it's not just here. This is nationwide. And you got 2 states that I understand that have insurance, and that's Arkansas, which don't have a commercial fisheries, that I know of, in Utah. But that's
I'm not
mandatory.
familiar with Utah touching an ocean anywhere.
Yeah, I
so-
know. Well, they got the Great Salt Lake, so that's a biggie for them. The bottom line is that it's the state that had to do that. Coastal Resource Management, I was very surprised, had nothing to do with any of this. Who's in charge of from the high water mark down? Which, I think they should have had something to know about when there's changes being done. Whatever, I'm not gonna, I think that it's trying to be worked out, and I don't want to cause any problems with anybody, because they had sincere efforts in what they were doing too. They thought they were doing right. And I'll tell you, if I could have got it, I would have got it. I can't get it.
So, Mr. Solicitor, could you please share that resolution verbiage?
I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to recommend that the council adopt the following resolution. This is a resolution suspending enforcement of ordinance 24-12, insurance requirements for the town marina. Whereas on June 26, 2024, the council enacted ordinance 24-12, which added section 8-71 to the town code of ordinances. And whereas the ordinance provides that vessels shall not be permitted to dock at the town marina unless such vessels are covered by liability insurance. And whereas the ordinance was effective upon passage, and whereas the town council wishes to suspend enforcement of the ordinance for a period of, although I wrote 60, I redid the math, make it 70 days.
Excellent.
Suspend for 70 days from this evening, providing additional time for owners of vessels to comply with the insurance requirement. Now therefore be it resolved that the town council hereby directs that enforcement of the ordinance be suspended for a period of 70 days from the passage of this resolution. Now, if you adopt that, we will work on amendments to the ordinance to get around this problem.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Tony, as stated, to resolve from the solicitor's words. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, is it possible, at one of the future meetings that someone who would be selling this type of insurance could come to the meeting and explain, like, is it the age? Is it the work? Like, what is it that is, what states have what? Like you mentioned a couple of states that have it, but the state has gone to do it, kind of like we did with workers' comp and other things. Like, I mean, it's none of us want to put these guys out of business. And that was my concern originally, but I think the thing that we need to figure out is, like, what are the parameters? I mean, is like a brand new fishing boat able to get the insurance because they are financing it and there's insurance there? I mean, if you look at, like, he mentioned flood insurance. I mean, my understanding is the only way you can get flood insurance is through, like, the Rhode Island, Massachusetts Fair Plan insurance, which is, I don't know who established that, but I mean, I have that because I don't live in a flood zone. But if you have any kind of knob and tune, any kind of tube, any kind of older wiring, you have to get insurance through there. The only place that will give it to you. So I would like to see if there's a way that we can, like, get someone who's very, very well versed in this from the insurance industry that could talk about it to us.
If I may respond, Mary, I think that's going to be extremely difficult to get someone here from the insurance agency. What we found out through Steve's research and my research is the issue is the composition of the material. If it's wooden, whether you're at Galilee or you're here in Bristol, that number one is extremely difficult, if not impossible, and the age of the boats. I think the approach we want to take is that if you're coming to dock here for the first time, and you have a new boat that's made out of different materials, it actually is insurable. It's the fact that a lot of these fishermen have had boats that they've either passed down through family or as you heard it, they're over 30 years old and they're just not insurable. So rather than have the council impose a condition that can't be met, period, we should do some exemptions. And that's what we'd like to work on. I've reached out to other towns in the state with regard to how they handle exactly this situation. So I'm going to come back with you at your December 18th meeting with some thoughts on how we can handle it. But yeah, it's not a question of what can the fishermen do to make it insurable. It's just
No,
not
I don't think it
insurable.
should be insurable, but I think you answered part of my question was like, what are the parameters in which they would insure such a boat? Like if you say it's wooden, then they're never gonna get it. You know what I mean? So that needs to be an exemption. You know, is it an age thing? Like all those things, because I don't want to see anybody else get caught up in this, even when we make the
Revisions.
necessary, yes.
Well, I think I've got some ideas that we've thrown around and we will resolve this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item on the agenda is appointments. G1, Special Constables, Fire, Police recommendation for January 2025.
Based on a recommendation, I move that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is I, other new business requiring town council action. I1 is Harbor Master Marcelli regarding consideration for proposed modifications to the harbor ordinance, including date adjustments, updates to specified billing via email, and revisions related to mooring inspections, waiting lists, and commercial mooring permits.
And that's actually how the agenda reads. It's all of that on there. So, yes. Greg, good evening.
Good evening. This is a long time coming. We just want to make some changes, update the times. We send out between 3,000 and 4,000 mailings a year. So that equates to around $2,200, $2,300 in savings we can make by going online with our billing through our system. We're going to set a kiosk up. The plan is to set a kiosk up for people that aren't very computer savvy to come in. We'll work through with them to get all their stuff uploaded and that kind of stuff. The rest is just date changes. We want to give everybody a couple months to pay. So we're going to add an additional 30 days to the payment process. Some wording changes with our kayak racks or dinghy racks. Waiting lists, we're going to keep posted at the Maritime Center, but it's available online. Everybody can see it right off the town website now. And establish some mooring guidelines for the mooring inspectors to know what they're doing. And a host of little other changes, nothing major.
If I could add, we also discussed coming up with a fine schedule.
Fine schedule, yep.
On some,
Thank you.
right
Thank
now,
you.
when tickets are given out, there really isn't, like most of your ordinances have a fine schedule, of first offense, a warning, second offense, $50, that type of thing. So, assuming the council agrees, you can just refer all this to me. I'll then work with Greg. We'll draft an ordinance and have the amendments to the ordinance and have it before you.
So the draft that we are seeing right now with the proposed changes is not from your office, Mike. It's like something that they're requesting.
We're gonna go
And we have to
through
have
it
the
and-
solicitor look at it.
Right.
Okay.
Greg did work with,
In my office.
yes,
Yeah.
Oh, he did,
so,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but we've since, and I should have explained better, we've since had a meeting, a sit-down meeting. We're gonna make some further changes.
Okay.
Greg, are you making or requesting that this be implemented this year? Or will they receive a mailing this year with notification that future dates, going forward, you'll have to do that, either come in, we'll assist you and so forth.
Well, we are looking to get this on the December 18th meeting for first reading, second reading in January. We'll send a notification out that bills will be delayed this year. And then we'll send the bills out. They still have 60 days to pay their bills before they're late. So it's still plenty of time. We're only losing 15 days. We'll have the email ready to go for the first day. We already started putting the email campaign out, notifying everybody, hey, add this address to your inbox. So to your receive sender list, so they know that the bills is coming. So they won't go to their junk file. So we're prepared to go online as soon as we can.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I'm in total agreement. If the savings and efficiency, so,
Yeah.
yes.
It'll save a lot of time and effort in the office as well.
I just don't want them to get caught on the web like, well, we don't know, I don't have a computer, that kind of thing. So we certainly should give them some information that, yes, we are available and will readily, will help you.
Sure, we're gonna put a lot of,
Right.
we're gonna put a lot of effort out the next month, if that's the way it looks like it's gonna go. And if somebody comes in March 3rd this year, we're probably not gonna give them $50 late fee. We're like, it's okay.
Couple of things if we could. I noticed when reading through this that the boat insurance came up a couple of times, so let's make sure that when this gets revised that we call out the commercial, right? Second thing is, you and I had spoken about, Greg and I had spoken about access to docks is part of this ordinance change, and it talked about locking the gates, such and
Yes.
so forth. When you and I spoke about this, I recall, and I've shared this with you, that the fire chief had concerns about that in the past, and I want to make sure that we get a sign off that this new process is in compliance, if you will.
Yes, I spoke with the fire chief yesterday. He's working on just going through the fire code to pull some fire code stuff out of it, but he'll have something for us prior to the 18th meeting. I'll share with you.
I'm just, we
Sure.
get recommendations from departments. I just want to make sure that this complies. That's all.
Yes.
So, anything else from the council?
Greg, I just had a quick question. I think this is fantastic. I love the electronic billing. So when they get an email, they'll click on the email, they'll go in and they'll pay their bill. Do they create an account or do they just pay their bill?
So everybody that we put in the system, when you put an application in, it gives you a customer number for say.
Great.
So when that email comes in, all you got to do is click on the email body, the link. It takes you right to your account. It'll pull all your, if you got a dock, a mooring, and a kayak rack, it pulls it all up, says here's what the total is. You upload the documents that are required. You go to the next step, you make your payment. There's no extra credit card fee charged on that online mooring system. So you don't have to pay 3.5% like if you showed up to the office. We pass that savings on to the customer.
Nice.
So it will be a little cheaper for them and on the service end fee, but no, we'll send out. We send out multiple emails anyway, reminder like, hey, we're 15 days into the billing period. We haven't received your payment yet.
Sure.
So we send out a lot of emails through that system. And what's nice using that one system is it records every time we communicate with somebody. So they can't come back and say, well, I didn't get that email. No,
Right.
you did.
You could see who opened the email, today
can't
you
see-
know who opens your email and who doesn't. So there's ways to track that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Anything else?
Yes, very brief. So with the credit card, you said they don't get charged the fee, but do we absorb the fee, for them
No.
to use it? Neither party
Neither
will
one.
be charged?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't pay anything. There's a $7 administrative fee that gets added to the bill.
Mhm.
For everything that goes through that system, we approved in the fee schedule. And that's what covers all the fees. So it costs the town nothing.
Any other questions from the council?
No.
So we just need a motion to refer to the solicitor.
So move.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is K1, Bristol County Water Authority Tri-Town Report, October 24th, 2024.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Receive and file. Any discussion?
Yes, briefly, reading through it, boy, it's a pretty loaded report. But it's nice to see that a lot of activity has taken place and they being very proactive, on behalf of all the customers.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Our next item is K2, Explore Bristol, regarding overview of the 2024 June to October report and updated Explore Bristol logo launching in 2025.
Okay.
Well, I,
It was nice, right?
can I just
Nice to
say
see
that?
it.
I don't see that. Can I just say that they're doing a great job? Like, I think of getting the word out of what's going on and, getting good press for Bristol and so forth. I mean, I don't know if any of you, I'm sure all of us here get the weekly email of the different events going
Mhm.
on. And I think that is just amazing. I think that's awesome. And it really highlights so many activities. And, I don't have the website right here, but people should go to Explore Bristol and try to sign up for that if you don't already have it. But I think they've been doing a great job. I really do. So I'm really
Agreed.
happy.
Yeah, I agree, Mary. I was talking to Elaine White and kudos to her. She's doing a lot of work and great job getting the newsletters out. But also she was talking about, really bringing in BMA and really all working together. And they've got some fantastic, ideas in the hopper and moving Bristol forward as far as economic development goes. So, more to come with them.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think they have their act together.
I love the transparency. I mean, there's all kinds of information here about how the money's being spent, how many clicks they're getting, just all kinds of great information here about how taxpayer dollars are being spent.
I have to concur. It certainly makes a lot easier. I know we had quite a bit of a discussion last year on this, but with this kind of information, it makes it much easier for us to walk
Agreed.
through the budget,
Exactly.
and the numbers.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So we just need a motion to receive and file.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to receive and file with thanks. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
We have something with the town solicitor.
Almost. One more.
Can you believe it? L1, an annual memo to all board and commissions relating to open meetings and public records responsibilities.
So this is going to be somewhat of a public service announcement.
Thank you.
Any commission or board that's created by the town council is characterized as a public body under the Open Meetings Act, which means they must comply with the Open Meetings Act requirements. That includes posting an agenda at least 48 hours ahead of the meeting. It includes taking minutes, keeping track of motions, votes, etc. It also includes within 35 days of that meeting, posting those minutes back on the Secretary of State's website. We also post them on the town's website, etc. Every October, the clerk's office sends this reminder out. It's a memo that I think you all have in front of you, but it's my office prepared it to send out to all the boards and commissions so that they are aware of these requirements. We like being very proactive in this area because we don't like getting complaints. And as you know, we basically haven't had any in Bristol because your boards and commissions do a phenomenal job of complying. In the recent past, we've come across a couple of examples where although minutes were taken, so that was great, they just never got uploaded to the Secretary of State's website, which would be a technical violation. So again, in talking with Nathan and talking with Melissa, we thought it would make sense to just place this on the agenda so we could publicly state everyone's doing a great job out there on your boards and commissions in compliance. We send the notices out every year as a reminder, and we just want everyone to be sure that in addition to taking minutes, they post the minutes also.
So I had asked to have this on for exactly that. Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. In addition to that, coming up in maybe January, February, and I will work with clerk and solicitor and obviously the council, we'll schedule another ethics meeting and ethics training. And we will also include reminders about sending meeting minutes to where they need to go. And we may actually include some maybe Robert's Rules 101, just a refresher for chairman and to go through the process. We here follow most of Robert's rules. And what I mean by that is I like a little bit of casual to it, which I think the boards and commissions do too, but it helps move the process along and also helps set expectations. So that's the goal for early 2025. So just need a motion to receive and file unless there's discussion.
Just very quickly, I concur, and as the solicitor already pointed out, we haven't had any violations. I'm glad to hear that. And, but certainly it's always prudent to keep people informed and, remind them what the responsibilities are.
Just need a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, we have executive session.
And that would be a motion to convene into executive session pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A5 regarding lease extension with A&R Marine.
Make a motion to approve it. Oh, no, do we? No, there's no motion on this.
Yeah, no, you need a motion.
Oh,
to,
okay,
to
convene.
Into executive
To convene, yes.
So move.
Discussion? So I'm sorry, motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim. Discussion. This is the end of the video portion of it. So this council will be going into executive session. We will come out after executive session to close the meeting in public, but that won't be on the video. So good night, everyone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yes.